What is going on, everybody? I am back today, actually not to talk about a movie, surprisingly, but I wanted to do a special video because I got to do something really fun this past weekend. I actually drove from Ohio to New York City to go see an off-Broadway production of the stage show Danny and the Deep Blue Sea. And the reason why I was very excited to do this is because it was starring two of my favorite actors, Christopher Abbott and Aubrey Plaza. And to be able to get the opportunity to see these two performers perform a live stage show was a very exciting thing to me. So I booked this in advance, drove out there, and the experience was incredible. And I just wanted to take some time to talk about what the play is about, give some insight as to what occurs during the play, and talk about it if you would not get the ability to be able to check this out, because it was a wonderful experience. And so today I'm going to tell you about Danny and the Deep Blue Sea. Danny and the Deep Blue Sea stars Aubrey Plaza as Roberta, a divorcee with a teenage son, while Christopher Abbott plays Danny, a brooding loner who lives with his mother. Both are haunted by their pasts, and when the two strangers sidle up to a bar in the Bronx, they compare scars over beers. The unlikely pair uncover their deepest, darkest truths, carving out space for empathy and maybe more. So, before going to see this, I actually was completely unfamiliar with the material. I really just bought this because I love Aubrey Plaza and Christopher Abbott. I've been following their careers for a while now, and I'm always so incredibly impressed with both of them as performers. And the thing about theater comparatively to film is when you're making a movie, you have a lot of opportunity to stop a scene, refilm something if it's not going the right way, if you don't think your delivery is coming across normally. You can stop and start again as many times as you need to, and then it's edited together later. When you are dropped into theater and live stage performance, there is no opportunity for error. You get no chance to screw up, because if you do screw up, you just have to move forward. It's not like you can just look at an audience and say, hey, forget about that, I'm going to start over again. And Christopher Abbott has done stage performance before, but this was Aubrey Plaza's first experience with doing live stage performance. And I was very excited to see kind of how they both adapt their acting style to that live stage performance. And this was one of the most breathtaking live performances I've ever seen. If there's one word I could use to describe it, it's electric. These two actors, obviously they've acted together before in the film Black Bear, and I feel like their chemistry in that film is fantastic. And the way they play off each other, obviously I've talked about that movie extensively in a review that I did on my YouTube channel, but the two of them in that film have a split down the middle, where for part of the movie they're playing very specific characters, and then it shifts and they're playing entirely different characters. And the way that they're able to kind of transition in that film and play off each other with their relationships, how they're established in both stories, is incredibly impressive. And I think Aubrey and Chris are both very emotive actors that not only are incredible in their vocal delivery, but in their facial expressions and their bodily movements. There's just something about the two of them where they just command whatever space they're in a way that is incredibly impressive. And this live stage performance really showcased just how incredibly talented both actors are. There's not a single other performer on the stage the entire hour and 20-minute runtime of this thing. There's no intermission. There is one change of set throughout the entire performance, and it's done so seamlessly and so immersively, it's impossible to break your attention. As the plot description states, it's a very simple idea. We get dropped into this bar in the Bronx at the beginning of the performance, and Christopher Abbott's character Danny is putting on a song at the jukebox. He's sitting at his own table drinking beer, and Aubrey Plaza's character Roberta is sitting at her table drinking beer, and she starts talking to him, and he's very reluctant to engage in conversation. And shortly after the two of them do cave and start talking with one another, we find out Danny is a very aggressive and violent person. He doesn't really like the world. He feels like things just don't work the way that they should in his brain. He thinks everyone's really out to get him. He doesn't really feel like he has a specific place in the world. And so that causes him to act out violently. We also learn that he lives at home. And then Aubrey Plaza's character, Roberta, is divorced and she has a son who she feels like she has absolutely zero connection with. She thinks that there's something wrong with him. She has a horrible relationship with her parents. We find out that there's something with her and her father that creates even a higher level in tension. And the two of them start to bond over their shared trauma. And the story gets very disturbing and very dark, but it also has this comedic edge that makes it lighter in moments as well. And I think the most beautiful part of the story as a whole is that it's about these two people who are very flawed individuals. They're incredibly broken. They're not necessarily the best people in the world, but regardless of the fact that they are flawed and that they have issues in their character, they're there for each other in a moment that they need it. And the way that they're there for each other is incredibly fascinating. I loved the direction that this took. And as I said, there is one set change from the bar into a house, and all of this is about dialogue. Christopher Abbott has a way of delivering dialogue in heated moments that is so impressive and so realistic. He just commands your attention. Aubrey Plaza has these sequences of monologue that I was just completely floored by how incredible her performance was, and the two of them connect in a way that feels very realistic. And this is a story that takes a direction that, if it was handled differently, it could come across as a little hokey to people. But the way that it's performed and the way that the dialogue is delivered, it's really empathetic and compassionate and really different. And that's what I loved so much about it. One of my favorite sequences in the entire performance, there's this dance number that the two of them do in the middle while the stage is transitioning, and it's breathtaking. I really don't have another word for it. It really just, the way the two of them perform and move. I didn't realize both of them had the talent of dancing, but they are incredible. They work together so well. It was mesmerizing, is a word I continue to use, and that's exactly what it was. And I was so impressed with the way that both of them commanded the stage. The lighting in this thing was phenomenal. It felt very cinematic in the way that the lights were placed. There was a lot of different colors thrown in there that I felt like really livened up the overall performance. The actual set design between the two scenes was incredibly impressive, and I've seen a lot of off-Broadway performances before. I mean, I've seen things to the level of Wicked. I've seen Hamilton. I've seen a ton of stage plays in my life, Les Mis, and this was just one of the top tier when it comes to production design. It was incredible. I think the direction in this thing was great. I really don't have any complaints with it whatsoever. It was just such an immersive and amazing experience. And to see two incredibly talented Hollywood performers giving this level of a performance on a stage where it's live and there's zero margin for error, it's just really incredible. And I'm so glad that I got the opportunity to check this out. If somehow you live near the New York City area and are able to snag tickets to this before it is over, I would 100% recommend going and watching it. It is totally worth it. And I could see this being brought into film form and being something incredibly impactful. I'd love for the two of them to do this in a movie. I think a lot of people would be incredibly impacted by it, and I'm so glad that I got a chance to check this out. So did you get the opportunity to see Danny and the Deep Blue Sea off Broadway? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this was incredible, one of the best stage performances I've ever seen, and I'm so glad that I got the opportunity to check it out. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.